This is Polyphonic Press. The podcast where two music fans pick a classic album completely at random.
All right, hey, welcome to Polyphonic Press. I'm Jeremy Boyd.
And I'm John Van Dyke.
And let's not waste any time. We've got the patented random album generator right in front of us here. So let's hit the button and see what album we're going to be listening to this week. And the album we're going to be listening to is Faces. A nod is as good as a wink to a blind horse.
Okay. This is post Small Faces. So it's Rod Stewart and Ronnie Wood. This is Faces while Steve Marriott, who used to be in the Small Faces, was off doing Humble Pie.
That's right. Yeah, they kind of split.
Yep.
I think I kind of know this album, but here's a description of the album anyway. It's A Nod is as good as a wink to a blind horse, released in 1971 by Faces, is a swaggering, loose-limbed blast of British rock and roll that feels as much like a late-night pub session as it does a studio album. Built on a foundation of gritty guitars, rollicking piano, and boozy charm, the record captures the band at their most confident and charismatic, balancing raw energy with surprising warmth and soul. Fronted by the raspy, emotionally charged voice of Rod Stewart, the album leans heavily into themes of love, lust, heartbreak, and good time excess. Songs like Stay With Me embody a reckless, infectious spirit, while tracks like Debris reveal a more reflective, tender side. The interplay between Stewart and guitarist Ronnie Wood gives the album its distinct personality, loose, slightly ragged, but always deeply felt. What makes a Not As Good As a Wink to a Blind Horse so enduring is its sense of authenticity. It doesn't chase perfection. Instead, it thrives on spontaneity, camaraderie, and a kind of joyful imperfection that makes every track feel alive. The result is one of the defining statements of early 70s rock. Raucous, heartfelt, and effortlessly cool.
Okay.
All right, so this album was released on 17th of November 1971. It was released on Warner Brothers and produced by the Faces and Glyn Johns. And there are 9 songs on the album. Side one starts with Miss Judy's Farm and ends with Stay With Me. So if you're listening along, be sure to pause after the song Stay With Me to hear the halfway discussion. Okay, here is the first song on the album, Miss Judy's Farm. So here we go.
All right.
Side one with Stay With Me. I mean, this is a pretty great rock and roll album so far. It's not as rockin' as I thought it would be, but I'm enjoying every song so far. It's a good mix of like some bluesy sort of rock and like a more folky, some more folky stuff, and some like slower R&B kind of vibe with Love Lives Here. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a pretty good record. Listening to it, and I can't help but think, like, just hearing Ronnie Wood's guitars is like, I know why they picked him for the Stones, because sounds very Stonesy in a lot of places.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie Wood's guitar playing, it's very like that open G kind of like style of playing it's very reminiscent of what Keith Richards would not. He didn't really start out doing that, but his sort of signature, what it became. And of course, I mean, there's like the when the Black Crowes came out in the 90s, everybody compared them to the Rolling Stones, but I think they're closer to the Faces than the Stones. Hearing this, especially the way Chris Robinson sang, is very similar to Rod Stewart, and also when adding the electric piano when Eddie Harsh would join the band on their second album, that's really when their sort of Faces sound kind of took off. But yeah, I mean, this is really great. I mean, you can tell, obviously you can hear the Stones influence on this, but yeah, I mean, they're still kind of doing their own thing with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it happens they got this sound around the same time as the Stones got the sound, so it's like they both decided to do that, open G sort of thing. I wonder if like Keith Richards learned it from Ronnie Wood or the other way around, but I think it was interesting. Ronnie Wood would join the Stones in 1975, so it took quite a few years before the two would join. And I know they, were asking around a lot of different guitar players as to who was actually going to join. I think Rory Gallagher was one that they actually were asking about.
But I think Ronnie Wood was a good fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, and they, I mean, Ronnie Lane is also the other guitar player, well, bass player, but he also played acoustic guitar, and his songs are interesting too, or the one that we've heard so far. We've heard two of his songs, You're So Rude and Last Orders, Please. Yeah, he's I know Rod Stewart kind of gets a lot of the spotlight for being the lead singer, but his songs are more, seem a little more folky, a little more acoustic driven, which is cool too. I mean, it's like I said, it's kind of a mix of sounds, like the more rock stuff that's sung by Rod Stewart, and then the more folky stuff that's done by Ronnie Lane.
Yeah, Ronnie Lane seems to have decided to like do a little bit of lead vocals on this one, because he didn't do a lot of the singing when it was the Small Faces either. It was mostly Steve Marriott doing all that work, but he did do backup vocals a lot, and their voices melded pretty well. So
they really did. I mean, I mean, his voice. Well, that's the other thing is Rod Stewart and Steve Marriott have very similar voices too, and so Ronnie Lane's voice blends well with both Rod Stewart and Steve Marriott. So it's interesting that he's hooked up with two singers who have a very similar style, or at least very similar voices. I don't know if they're probably not trying to copy each other. That's just the way they sing.
That's their voice, yeah.
But it's interesting that he was in two bands with very similar singers, and his voice just complements each of them pretty well. And you also have, it's interesting too, is you also have Kenny Jones, who would later replace Keith Moon in The Who after he had died.
Yeah, it's like a super group before anybody was really known.
I know we don't really do sports analogies, but it's like a farm team where you would basically, a lot of professional sports teams have farm teams where they still play in the league, but if they need a player, they'll bring them to the major team. And it's kind of like this this band was the farm team for a lot of other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I mean, I don't know how big the Faces really were in terms of popularity. I know Rod Stewart had a solo career at the same time, and he was maybe a little more successful with his solo career than he was playing with the Faces. And
the Faces weren't exactly unknown because, again, they were definitely rose out of the ashes of the Small Faces. And the Small Faces, although not being like absolutely huge or anything like that, were fairly well known, certainly at the time.
They had at the very least, they had a top 40 hit. I think was Ichiku Park was their biggest hit.
It's up there. I'm also thinking Tin Soldier was that was a big hit for them. And yeah, they're one of my favorite bands for sure.
Yeah, they're great too, and so is Humble Pie.
Humble Pie is great. Yeah, I actually just picked up a record of theirs. So the Eat It record.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. I mean, this is I don't actually know what the split was between Steve Marriott and the rest of the band. Was there just personal?
I think it was just personal things, and he was getting a little bit, I don't know, disillusioned. He was still pretty young at the time too. I mean, he was still in his early 20s. Yeah, I think he just wanted to do something a little bit harder edge, a little bit more rockier. Although, this kind of, I find that kind of went in the same direction. Like we were talking about it earlier when Eric Clapton wanted to leave Cream because he wanted to be sort of committed to the blues and wound up forming Cream instead. Or sorry, he wanted to leave the Yardbirds because he wanted to be loyal to the blues or something like that. And he did the John Mayall and the Blues Breakers thing, but then he formed Cream, which was kind of out there. It's funny how sometimes, the band will it kind of goes in the direction or the artist goes in the direction that things were kind of aiming anyway.
I wonder what Steve Marriott thought of the Faces when he heard them. It's like, well, that's what I wanted to do with you guys.
Yeah, I don't know. He was kind of busy doing his own thing, but yeah, I don't know. I think there were personal issues as well. So
probably, yeah. It's not always just musical differences. It's usually personal.
There's a lot of personal differences sometimes. Yeah.
But I did manage to find some pretty interesting facts about the album. And this is kind of wild, and I didn't know about this. There was an infamous band poster. So when the album was first released, it included a large fold-out poster collage that caused immediate controversy. Alongside the album's lyrics, the poster featured close-up photos of scattered pills and Polaroids taken on tour, which allegedly showed the band and crew partying with naked groupies in their hotel rooms. Within weeks of the release, the record company panicked and reissued the album without the scandalous insert. Naturally, this overnight recall turned the original poster pressings into highly sought-after collector's items.
Yeah, as it does. You want a collector album, just recall it.
Sometimes I think maybe they do that on purpose, but...
Well, it generates, generally, the artist or the label doesn't really care about, what an album becoming, collectible or anything like that, but they do care about publicity, and sometimes doing something like that gives them a little bit of publicity. Or they're really just completely, I don't know, lost in another world and put it out and reality slapped them back back to earth. I don't know.
Again, it's like that. It's like the Spinal Tap. Smell the glove. It's like, well, what's wrong with being sexy? It's like it's sexist. It's like they just didn't get it. And yeah, this is interesting too. As I was talking about earlier, Rod Stewart had a solo careers, right? They were kind of riding on the coattails of Rod Stewart's solo success. The album was released in November of 1971. The very same year, their frontman, Rod Stewart, dropped his massively successful solo album, Every Picture Tells a Story, featuring the smash hit Maggie May. Because the rest of the Faces essentially acted as Stewart's backing band for his solo work, the musical boundaries between his solo career and the band were incredibly blurred. The explosion of Stewart's solo fame directly fueled A Nod Is As Good As a Wink to become the highest charting album of the Faces' career worldwide.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was the Faces. It makes sense, but I didn't actually know that it was the Faces backing him on his solo efforts at the time.
Yeah, no, neither did I. I thought it was a completely separate thing, but And number 3 is Ronnie Lane steps out of the shadows. And like you were saying, bassist Ronnie Lane was typically relegated to backing vocals on previous Faces records, but this album gave him a major vocal spotlight. Lane sang lead on 3 of his own compositions, You're So Rude, Last Orders Please, and the gorgeous ballad Debris, written as an emotional examination of his relationship with his father. Debris ironically ended up serving as the B-side to the album's boisterous and raunchy mega hit, Stay With Me.
Well, hello. And how are you? Fancy seeing you here. Don't let it show. No one must know. Why? They're playing tracks in my tears. Just pretend it's all over, like you have for so long. I thought time was a healer, but I guess I was wrong. I am to blame, but we were so young. Oh, how was I to know?
Well, it's good that they gave him a chance to explore his songwriting, because that is always a tricky thing, is when another member of the band says, well, I've got a song, and it can create a weird dynamic. So it's cool that they were like, no, this is a good song, you should sing it and record it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, sometimes, depending on the song and depending on the writer, you feel like, okay, we'll just put it over here on the fridge. But it is kind of tough to have multiple songwriters to have like a similar sound. And again, one of the bands that comes to mind right now is Sloan, where they each has its like individual, like each member of Sloan is a songwriter, and each of them have like sort of like they got a style, then you can sort of tell who it is, but they go together really well. And when they put out an album, the transitions between songs can be kind of seamless sometimes.
Yeah, it's almost like, you're right. Like it's whenever, like whoever the songwriter is, it still sounds like Sloan. And the Ronnie Lane's compositions here, like this, it doesn't sound like a different band playing these songs. It just sounds like a slightly different style, because he's a different songwriter than Rod Stewart, but it still sounds like them playing it. It still sounds like the same band, just a slightly different style of song.
Yeah, especially with Ronnie Wood's open G playing. That really helps glue everything together.
Yes, it does. He's an amazing guitar player. And they had a tighter ship thanks to Glyn Johns. The Faces were notorious for their boozy, chaotic, and jam-heavy live shows, but this studio effort marked a shift in discipline. By sharing production duties with legendary engineer Glyn Johns, famous for his work with the Beatles, The Who, and the Rolling Stones, the band was reeled in and forced to trim the fat. The album clocks in at just under 36 minutes, a significant and deliberate drop from their first 2 albums, which both sprawled past the 45-minute mark. And, sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need a sort of someone in the room to not tell you what to play, but just to sort of guide things and say, well, this section goes on a little too long. We can drop that here. And, just to sort of streamline things and like to cut the fat. And it's like, there's a lot of stuff that's happening, but let's focus on these elements that are your strongest things, and let's not worry about the other stuff. And sometimes you need an outside to see what's going on, because forgive the cliche, yeah, you can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I've definitely been in jam sessions that kind of felt a little foggy, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, and we could have used somebody to come in and, yeah, well, I like that thing you did right there. You could maybe use that and sort of patchwork and focus things a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Just to sort of guide steer the ship. And number 5 this is pretty funny, is the famously wordy title is derived from a classic Cockney idiom, meaning that a subtle hint is easily understood without the need for further explanation. Bassist Ronnie Lane reportedly suggested the title, taking direct inspiration from the iconic Nudge Nudge sketch by Monty Python, which features the similar quote, "A nod's as good as a wink to a blind bat, eh?" No, it's a very British title. They have another song on another album that is ridiculously long. So it's after Rod Stewart left the band, but it's from their 76 album. And the title of the song is "You Can Make Me Dance, Sing, or Anything, Even Take the Dog for a Walk, Mend a Fuse, Fold Away the Ironing Board, or Any Other Domestic Shortcomings."
It's a song title.
That's the song title, yeah. But yeah, so anyway, those are some interesting facts about the album, but I guess we'll get into the second side, and it starts with the song Debris. So here we go.
I left you on the debris at the Sunday morning market. You were sorting through the odds and ends. You was looking for a bargain. I heard your footsteps at the front door.
All right, and ending the album with "That's All You Need." Yeah, this is a pretty great album. So that last song, the guitar tone on that last song was something else. That was pretty great. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty good album. So through the whole thing, the other song that Ronnie Lane did, "Debris," that was pretty good too. I mean, that was probably his best out of the three, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then their cover of Memphis, Chuck Berry song. I think they're an amazing band, and I think this is a good showcase of what a great band they are. And they have the songs to back it up, and Glyn Johns really sort of knew how to get the best out of them and focus on their strengths. So
yeah, I think so. Who played organ on this one, or keyboards, or
this is Ian McLagan.
It is Ian McLagan. Okay, I was wondering. It's his name. He comes up every once in a while, still does on things like that. But I did know, like, he was back in the Small Faces as well. And the organ on that last song was really good too. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was, that last song was, like that I was not expecting that heavy, thick guitar tone. And I was like, Jesus, this is heavy for 1971. And it's, it's like, it was really, really cool.
your heart. Concerns my brother who still had played violin. Woo! Got it in his head that an IQ was all you need. He went his way, I couldn't discover mine. I didn't worry if I ever saw him again. He has made a profit while I don't even own the pocket. Woo! And the last I heard, he was sitting at the top of the tree. Wait a minute. Late last night, reading my underground prayers.
And just some of the stuff that Ronnie Wood was doing on that was just pretty impressive. Yeah, I mean, they're just they in the rhythm section. I mean, the bass and drums really tight together, really have a unique sound together. I think Kenny Jones. I think because he replaced Keith Moon in The Who, he doesn't really get the credit that he deserves for being a really good drummer. But you know, he's not flashy, but he's got a really good pocket. And the way Ronnie Lane and him are playing like the bass and drums just are really in this. They're not doing anything consciously different. It's just the way that they are playing is just creates this really unique sort of backdrop for the rest, for Rod Stewart's vocals and Ronnie Wood's guitar playing. It's just the rhythm section is really, really tight. But I think this might be difficult, but what would be your three highlights on the album?
I've always liked Stay With Me. I think that's a pretty good song. That's the hit, obviously. That's All You Need was really good. I like that stuff, that style, and that slide guitar on it was, the riff was really cool. And then I think I'm going to go with Too Bad. I thought that was a good one too.
That's a good one too. Yeah. Yeah. Mine, I think definitely that last track, That's All You Need. I think that's a highlight for me for sure. I really like, I mean, I've always liked Stay With Me. That was the first song I heard of theirs. And that's what really got me into this. So I would probably go with Stay With Me as well. And yeah, probably You're So Rude. I like that one too.
Oh yeah.
Ronnie Lane's first song on the album. I think those would be my picks. But I think I know the answer, but would you listen to this album again?
Yeah, I'd probably listen to this one again. It's not my top favorite.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, didn't blow me away or anything. It's not, but it's a solid album, solid rock and roll album. Yeah, so I would listen to it again for sure. So I guess we'll end the episode there. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, we would love to hear from you. If you want to drop us a line, go to our website, polyphonicpress.com, and go to the contact page and just drop us a line, and we might read your message on the air. And you can always check out our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/polyphonicpress. You can hang out, join the group there, and we'll be hanging out there as well. And there's lots of stuff you can get there if you want to help us out. You can get these episodes the day before they go live. You can get a shout out during these episodes, and even pick an album for us to review. So lots of cool stuff over there. And if this is your first time listening, be sure to follow the show and leave a rating and review, because it helps people find us. And I think that just about does it. I'm Jeremy Boyd.
And I'm John Van Dyke.
Take it easy.